Hello everybody, it's me, GhostCritic, and for those who have been patiently waiting, here it finally is, the next instalment of my series of reviews on Marvel's Ultimate Graphic Novel Collection. And this one came out probably about a month and a half ago, and it is Amazing Spider-Man, Kraven's Last Hunt, collecting the 6-issue crossover tie-in event with all the Spider-Man titles of the time. So we have a Web of Spider-Man issue 31 and 32, Amazing Spider-Man issue 293 and 294, and concluding with Spectacular Spider-Man issue 131 and 132. Now, this came out in... I thought I'd read this came out in 1987, but the foreword on this book, from the words by the editor at the start, said it was 1989. Regardless, this is firmly steeped in post-Watchmen, and it is a very kind of telling story for the time it came out. With Watchmen, everyone will say to you, that has read Watchmen, that it was a benchmark for everyone else. Once that came out, once the style of storytelling and the maturity of those stories became such a popular thing, when Watchmen just kind of blew out the stratosphere and was so popular, everybody wanted a piece of this action, and you can see the similarities steeped in this book. It is essentially a story of Kraven's triumph over Spider-Man, but given the whole kind of this new kind of mature storytelling, there is a rather twisted element to this kind of Kraven becoming what he thinks is a superior being to Spider-Man. The first page alone is quite telling in the way this story is going to develop. You have the very first page, you have Kraven naked, hunched over, ready to pounce, with this kind of feral, growling face on him. And in the background you have like these wild animals. And the story does kick off with him defeating a panther, literally, and I mean literally, punching the head off a gorilla or some sort of huge ape character. But as you go along in the first issue, you have this Kraven looking back at his life and the fact that, he has beaten so many people in his life. He has triumphed over so many things. But each and every time when he's met Spider-Man, he's been defeated. So you get this idea that this is his final chance, and he knows deep within himself that this is going to be his moment where he will defeat Spider-Man and show his superiority. But with this is more of a final act for Kraven. This isn't, I'm going to beat Spider-Man and then I can go on and live my life normally. There's going to be no more need for the hunt. This is literally his last act. However this transpires, and he believes he will win, this will be the end of his life. On the flip side, in this first issue, you see Spider-Man. He's currently in his black costume. This is just a black costume. It's not Venom. He's just using the black costume. He's also thinking about mortality and death, and the fact that, how is he not dead already, despite everything he's been through in all of his life, and yet everyone else around him is dying. So, and throughout the book there is this theme of mortality, of death, and how these characters live through it. It's very good in the sense that it speeds things along. This isn't like 3 issues of kind of Kraven stalking Spider-Man or 3 issues of him battling Spider-Man. Kraven's defeat over Spider-Man happens in the first issue. It does seem a little too quick, but it certainly moves the story along and goes to the places it actually wants to address. So there is this short kind of almost fight scene. Kraven drugs Spider-Man with a poisoned dart and eventually defeats him and puts him in the ground in a coffin. He buries him. He has this fake pseudo funeral where he is left on his own at Spider-Man's kind of graveside, and you get this maniacal face, and he is just grinning from ear to ear and laughing. He feels as though he's finally done it. He's been superior to Spider-Man. He's finally defeated him. So to kind of add insult to injury, he dons the Spider-Man costume and goes out pretending to be Spider-Man. Not to do good deeds now. He is there to ruin not only kind of Spider-Man's body, but his reputation as well. And so he goes out. He's still going after like the villainous element of the city, but he goes that one step further and kills these villains, these bad, you know, robbers and muggers and rapists, etc. He also, we get introduced to a character called Vermin. Now, Vermin started off as just this vagrant who is captured by Baron Zemo and has all these horrific experiments done to him, and he eventually turns into this kind of feral or rat-like creature who only lives in the sewers, coming out to the surface to grab unsuspecting victims to eat. And the last time that we saw this character was a team up between Spider-Man and Captain America, and it took both of them to take Vermin down. So again, to show his superiority over Spider-Man, Kraven goes to find Vermin and to defeat him on his own, to again show that he is superior to Spider-Man in every single way. There are some very kind of strange, kind of almost psychedelic moments. You have Kraven ingesting spiders. He wants to become the Spider-Man, and he thinks that Spider-Man has gained his powers by, you know, becoming the spider, ingesting all these spiders. It's a very adult, mature read, especially for a Spider-Man title. As we progress, obviously we go back to Peter Parker, and he's inside this coffin, but he is hallucinating. He is in this kind of limbo area where he's meeting people that have died. So you get kind of Ned Leeds. Is it Ned Leeds? Yeah, Ned Leeds turns up, but again, horrific scenes of his face melting off, and then we have these scenes of Peter Parker being kind of reborn out of a spider's belly. This is basically the mental breakdown of Peter Parker, and his not only just physical exhaustion but mental exhaustion. He does eventually break out of his coffin, and he's going to go and fight Kraven, but Kraven has no need to fight him anymore. He has defeated Spider-Man, and so Kraven sets Vermin, who he's captured, onto Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is obviously so worn down he can't fight to his fullest ability, and Vermin is just about to kill Spider-Man again, but Kraven steps in and basically saves him. And then in the last but one issue, I think it is, if you ever thought this was just like a run-of-the-mill kind of superhero comic book, you have this very, very dark moment with Kraven. Like I said, this was his final act. There's no more to live for. So what does he do? He commits suicide. He kills himself. It's a great story. There's no doubt about that. Very dark. Not just in like the tone, but also the content, the art style. No punches are held back here. There is a kind of subplot with Mary Jane. I think that's feels a little filler in. We know that Mary Jane is always worried about Spider-Man, and when he's gone for days on end she worries about him. This is post kind of their marriage. They've been married a while now, so I suppose like the heightened worry now that it's her husband is there as well, but it just felt a little bit fillerish. Extras in the back, we have a poster gallery of Kraven. We have a little article about Mike Zeck, sorry, the artist, and then DeMatteis talking about his work on Kraven's Last Hunt and where he got all his ideas from, how the story came about, and then an artist gallery of all the kind of different artists' representations of Kraven. A family tree as well. There was quite a lot in the back of this. We have a Kravens family tree. And finally the normal further reading section at the back, which has We're Getting Secret Wars, volume 6 and 7. We're going to get the full series of that. Also, it was the very first one. I don't know why they're showing this, but there's Amazing Spider-Man Coming Home, which was the very first one they brought out, and also what's already come out, Birth of Venom storyline. Plus there's that you can read. So yep, that's Amazing Spider-Man, Kraven's Last Hunt. Like I said, it's a great story. If you haven't already read this, I'm sure you can pick this up in trade already. You must be able to. And there we go. That's another one done. The next one will be Captain America, The Real Deal. Hopefully I'll have that up real soon. Gradually catching up. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. Bye-bye.